ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for attending the release of Brith Canada's 2014 Audit of Antisemitic Incidents and the launch of our new interactive website, b'nai-brith-audit.ca. It has been a difficult year for Jews around the world. From the shootings in Kansas City to the attack on the Jewish Museum in Brussels, 2014 was one of the worst years for anti-Semitism worldwide since the Nazi era. The conflict between Israel and Hamas helped breathe new life into previously buried, but nonetheless deep-seated anti-Semitic ideologies. Anti-Semitic rhetoric is being repackaged as anti-Zionism and is increasingly being labeled as an acceptable form of public discourse. While anti-Israel dialogue is not new, nor should it be censored when it is part of legitimate political debate, chants of "kill the Jews" and "Hitler was right" highlight an insidious form of hatred directed at the Jewish people as a whole, and not a genuine and sincere questioning of Israeli political policy. In Europe, many politicians, activists, and members of the Jewish community describe the atmosphere of anti-Semitism in 2014 as the worst they could remember. Unfortunately, in Canada, we also set new records with this year's audit. To discuss the detail of this year's Audit of Antisemitic Incidents, I welcome our audit coordinator, Amanda Homan. Amanda, over to you.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael said, unfortunately, 2014 was a record-setting year for the audit, with 1,627 incidents recorded, an increase of 28% over 2013, and 21% higher than the previous record set in 2012. Of those 1,627 incidents, the largest proportion were classified as harassment, with 1,370 incidents. This category contains such activities as shouted threats and slurs, hate mail, and other propaganda, including online harassment. A further 238 incidents were classified as vandalism, which includes a variety of incident types from graffiti and petty vandalism to arson and destruction of property. Finally, in 2014, there were 19 incidents of violence, including relatively minor incidents where objects were thrown at pedestrians, to more serious cases of violent assault requiring hospitalization. Regionally, there were some differences this year as compared to previous year's audits. BC and Alberta both saw a dramatic decrease overall in reported incidents as compared to previous years. It isn't clear if this is the beginning of a new trend in Western Canada, if it was simply an off year, or whether it's a matter of a breakdown in reporting. We will be watching closely to see how this develops in the coming years. However, as in years past, the majority of incidents took place in Ontario, with most incidents occurring in the GTA. Of the 1,627 incidents, 961 took place in Ontario. The region with the second highest number of events was again Quebec, with 259 incidents. For more information on the situation in Quebec, we turn to Moïse Mograbi, the regional chair for the League for Human Rights.
Thank you, Amanda. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Je m'appelle Moïse Mograbi et je suis le président de la Ligue des droits de la personne de Brith Canada pour le Québec. Comme vous avez déjà entendu de mes collègues Michael et Amanda, les chiffres à travers le Canada pour cette année sont troublants, pour le moins qu'on puisse dire. J'essaierai de souligner certains des incidents qui se sont produits au Québec et de partager avec vous les détails de certains de ces événements. In Quebec, the League recorded 259 total incidents compared to 250 for 2013. There were 55 cases of vandalism, 9 cases of violence, and 195 cases of harassment. La Ligue a colligé un total de 259 incidents au Québec en 2014 à comparer à 250 pour l'année précédente. De ceux-ci, 9 sont des cas de violence, 55 de vandalisme et 195 d'harcèlement. While the total numbers are similar to last year's, there has been a dramatic increase in harassment while vandalism has slowed. Of the violent incidences reported to us, many were very concerning. In one instance, a man visiting from France was assaulted outside a kosher restaurant and punched in the face violently by a man of Middle Eastern origin simply because he was Jewish. Further disturbing was the fact that the police was very hesitant to press charges since the victim was not Canadian. Parmi les incidents de violence qui nous ont été rapportés, plusieurs étaient très préoccupants. Dans un cas, un homme en visite de France a été agressé à la sortie d'un restaurant cachère et fut violemment frappé au visage par un homme d'origine moyenne-orientale simplement parce qu'il était juif. Encore plus déroutant est le fait que la police a offert beaucoup de résistance à porter plainte au motif que la victime n'était pas canadienne. With regards to vandalism, although total numbers have declined, the seriousness of the incidents cannot be understated. Il y a eu plusieurs cas d'incendies criminels dans les Laurentides, dont une résidence appartenant à une famille hassidique, et donc visiblement une résidence juive, laquelle fut entièrement réduite en cendres. There were a number of case arsons in the Laurentians, with one home belonging to a Hasidic family, and therefore the Jewish home burned to the ground. Les incidents d'harcèlement ont non seulement augmenté, mais également la majorité d'entre eux contenaient une référence nazie, de l'admiration à Hitler, et un désir de voir le peuple juif totalement détruit. De plus, nous demeurons préoccupés par la législation proposée, provinciale, telle que la Charte des valeurs, laquelle pourra possiblement façonner l'opinion publique de manière négative vis-à-vis les minorités et les groupes ethniques. Finally, police agencies in Quebec and across the country must take more seriously incidents such as these and be willing to investigate them as the hate-motivated crimes that they are. I will now turn the mic over to B'nai Brith CEO, Michael Mostyn, for his final thoughts.
Thank you, Moise. Recently, the Toronto Police Service released a report which showed that 1/3 of all hate crimes in the city of Toronto are aimed at the Jewish community, a community that makes up less than 3% of the population. The same thing is true for other communities across Canada, and worldwide the number of anti-Semitic attacks is doubling or tripling in many areas. These sobering statistics make it clear that the work of B'nai Brith and the League for Human Rights is critically important if we hope to stop the numbers from continuing to rise. Identifying the extent of the problem, as the audit does annually, is important to understanding the context in which we conduct our work. But this is only one piece of a larger whole. Outreach and educational programs are essential in helping to spread awareness of not only the dangers of anti-Semitism, but also to provide education to prevent it. Anti-Semitism can come from a place of hatred and violence, but it is often a result of ignorance, as the recent partnership between B'nai Brith and Montreal Alouettes player Khalif Mitchell has demonstrated. And while we will continue to target blatant hate activities, as we're doing with our Stop Al-Quds Day campaign, it is also important to build partnerships that will combat ignorance and help build bridges amongst other groups in our communities. Partnerships with law enforcement, educational institutions, and other community agencies are important parts of this effort, and we would call on all our community partners to come together to help ensure that the 2015 audit paints a different picture of anti-Semitism, one which truly embraces multicultural Canada. Thank you everyone for watching today's release of the Audit of Antisemitic Incidents for 2014. We would like to encourage you to go to our website should you like to see further details about this year's audit. Our audit can be found at www.bnaibrithaudit.ca. That's www.bnaibrithaudit.ca. There you will find an interactive website with regional breakdowns in terms of incidents, and much further information. If you or a loved one have faced anti-Semitism and don't know where to turn, please do call our anti-hate hotline. Our experts are on call 24/7 a day. The number there, 1-800-892-BNAI. That's 1-800-892-2624. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you again.